So maybe you're thinking to yourself, I had a pretty bad day or a pretty bad weekend. Maybe you did. But did you have micro tornado Russell come through and tear up your house like this? Because Russell, come over here. It's like the Tasmanian devil, only it's a human being. And he had a sledgehammer. And he's already done this morning while we went to Home Depot and got all this stuff. Take a look. Our goal today is to take all this lumber and make it into a room. Actually, several rooms. So we're super excited about that. Russell, you have anything funny to say?
No.
Anything inspiring to say?
I'm really excited to work in the sun.
Heck yeah.
Boom, blow it up.
Let's see if we can get, there's going to be a huge solar energy spill today. So I'm super excited about that. Obviously, there was a micro tornado earlier named Russell. And then... Really tiny. Don't get short with me, Russell.
Hey.
I'd like to talk to you guys about how to put in a beam and how to put in studs and things like that. So right now, it looks like this wall does not have a whole lot of studs. And the reason you need to have a lot of studs is so you can nail your sheetrock up, because if you don't... Holy monkey! What just happened? So if you don't, then perhaps the Tasmanian devil...
Are we okay?
Yes, yeah, that was all a joke. But the Tasmanian devil will come in and mess you up. So, okay, so what we did is we temporarily supported this wall. All these ceiling joists are going this way. We temporarily supported that, and then we put in this beam and we pre-cut that so that Russell could come out here and act like the Kool-Aid man. But yeah, so that's how this works. All right, love you guys. Oh, hey there. So, we're gonna teach you guys an important lesson. Obviously, it's been about 28 minutes. We framed all this up. It's gonna be really beautiful. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so here's what happens. When you have things that are perpendicular to each other, like this or like this, then they can wobble back and forth, okay? So they used to put 45s on stuff, and that's a 45-degree angle for those of you who don't know what a 45 is. So that means they had a board that they would nail on the side, and they'd notch it in, and then they would nail that, and then that would give it rigidity, right? So 45 gives you rigidity. But plywood does the same thing. It's called shear strength. And so because we're nailing it into a bunch of different things, that locks it into place. So this is also wind bracing, which means that whenever the wind blows real hard, like a tornado or whatever, then your house doesn't just go blah, blah, and fall down, because that's bad. So for example, this looks all solid, and it is solid, and it's square and level and everything, but right now, it'll wobble back and forth. Can you see that? And so when I'm walking up on that, trying to frame it, sometimes things get out of square, like whatever.
Couple up.
But once you nail this sucker up, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna demonstrate. So let's get this up here. Got on here? Just dropping down. I'm down there. All right. So let me get your bottom. But now, over here. Yeah, that's not square. So what we got to do is push this until it is. So Russell, come on over here. So push that. Yeah, you're gonna have to push hard. Come back right there. Okay. So that's good. Now you guys are about to witness the magic. So, let's just see. Obviously this isn't completely done, but just as a demonstration, that does not move at all, right? That locks that suck up. So that's called shear strength, and that's when you have a 4x8 sheet and you nail all over it. And so we're gonna obviously put that all the way around before we put siding on, and that will lock this so it will not move. And that's very important, so that's called shear strength. So now you guys learned something and it wasn't even funny. There you go.
What's up? Hey, how you guys doing? So I don't know if you guys can tell, but we came in today. We knocked out the brick wall, took that whole wall inside out, and framed everything out here today. Put our gable up, got everything framed ready. All we got to do is put the decking on, start finishing out the rest of this tomorrow. It's gonna be another long day. Hopefully the rain doesn't put us out, but it might happen. I don't know. What do you think?
I only had to put up one board today, so
That's not bad. I put up like half a
John
board.
did all the work.
No, I did like half a board. Half a board. Russell did everything.
Yeah, I mean, I destroyed everything. That was my
So,
job.
were you the Tasmanian Devil / Kool-Aid man that busted through the wall?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get away from me, Satan.
All right, so so as promised, there was a pile of lumber, and we made it into several rooms. Yay! Good morning. So here's what happened. Yesterday, a friend of mine, I don't want to mention any names, let's just say Kim Hatfield, said, you know, your guys are funnier than you are now. I'm like, oh yeah? Well, I'll let them do the last video. And you guys saw it, didn't look funny. They looked really tired just because it was dark, and they were like, oh, boo-hoo, I worked for 48 minutes instead of the normal 28 minutes. Wah, wah, wah. Anyway, so a lot of you guys are like, how do you get all these measurements correct? And the answer is because the tape measure doesn't lie. And I know what you're thinking, your tape measure looks horrible. Yeah, it does, because it broke. That tape measure lies. Hold on, I'm gonna get a good one. You always gotta have a spare tape measure sitting around just on the ground, because that definitely helps you to do the anti-tornado setting to make your masterpiece. Today we are gonna work on this gable, and I'm gonna show you guys how we do it, okay? But for right now, just understand that there's, these are your rafters, right? And they go onto the ridge board right here. But then we've got this board for an overhang, for the eaves. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how to support that. Because right now it's not supported at all. Right now you step on that thing and look, oh no, that's gonna hurt. You're gonna fall. So what we gotta do is we gotta build a gable on top of this wall, and that's gonna support it. And then we're gonna have some cross members that go across here, and that'll be supported by this wall. It'll make sense in a little bit. All right, so now we wanna talk about what? Come closer. Depression. Okay, so a lot of you guys, because of COVID or because of your life or whatever in the world, your circumstances, you're probably depressed. And I have a simple cure for depression, and you're gonna be like, John, why didn't you tell me this sooner? And the truth is, I do. I tell everybody all the time. So let's say that you're feeling depressed for whatever in the world reason. Here's what you do. Are you ready? Good. You find somebody that has it worse than you. It won't be hard to do, I promise. No matter how bad you've got it, there's somebody that's got it worse. And you go and be the friend to them that you wish that somebody would be to you. Because then you have found a friend, you have made a friend, and if you need a friend, guarantee you that person needs a friend. You be nice to them, you be kind to them, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't know, I just feel better. I feel like I have a friend, I have a purpose, I have some hope, I have some reason to live for, and it's helping me to raise me up too, because it's impossible to help your brother across the stream without getting there yourself too. If you notice, people that are destitute, people that are poor, people that are homeless, they always have like kids or pets or something. They're like something that has it worse off than me, and I want to help them and nurture them and make them better, and then somehow they're happier. And poor people are some of the happiest people in the world. So that's good advice for you. If you're depressed, find somebody that has less than you, that has it worse than you, and help them and be the friend of them you wish somebody would be to you. Love you guys, see you soon. Well, it looks like I can predict the future. And by that I mean, we said we were gonna show you how to build a gable, and now we're gonna show you how to build a gable. So, remember, this is a rafter, this one right here. This is our edge board for the eave, right out here, it's also a rafter. But then what we did is we put these cross beams in, right? So then that ties these two together, and then we put this board underneath it, and that supports it, and we put these verticals. And now, whenever you're out on the eave, oh my goodness, I ain't scared of nothing, because it's not gonna move, right? So, that's the concept. This right here is taking the weight, and then it's coming over farther, and then that is, then you're solid. So that's how that works. Do we have anything else we want to say, Russell?
You're the best.
Oh, you're the best. I love you guys. You're all the best. I really appreciate you guys watching every day. It really warms my heart. Okay.
Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
What are we doing right now?
We're putting on ridge caps. It's the finishing touch for any roof, which is pretty nice. So I guess you probably want to talk about safety on a roof and in general. Good point. So number 8, when you're on a roof, you don't stand on anything that's not nailed down to the roof. Does that mean this? Yes, because if you stand on this, whoa, you're gonna fall. Or those, especially a hose. The hose is the most slippery thing ever. Then there's all these granules and stuff, so you gotta be careful because you don't wanna die. Here's the other thing. A gun has a safety right there, right? If you don't have your finger on the trigger, you're just fine. You can pull the trigger, no big deal. But when that safety's engaged, let's see if I can do this. Then, boom, you shoot a nail way up there. That's gonna hurt. So, what happens is, idiots.
You just hit that baby.
I did just hit the baby, like right smack between the eyes. But thank God he was wearing safety glasses. What happens is these idiots will keep their finger on the button, on the trigger, and then bump fire, right? And then you know what happens? They hurt themselves. So for example, I worked with a guy, watch out, you're gonna fall off. I worked with a guy and he had his finger on the trigger, he's bump firing, and he shoots himself with a staple right through his thumb, right through his thumbnail, sticks out the other side with a tin cap stuck to it, right? So I go to cut this thing off, he gets to the ground, he's like, oh, so I go to cut it off with some dikes, and when I do, all the color leaves his face, and he just passes out. So long story short, I take him to care now. They're like, oh man, it's spiderweb through his bone. He's probably not, you know, he might lose his thumb, blah, 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 blah. We sit there for 5 hours. Finally, they get some pliers and pull it out. I'm like, yeah, I could have done that. Anyway, 3 weeks later, guy cuts himself wide open, pouring blood, slides down the roof, falls off the roof. We're like, that's not great luck. Later that same day, bang, 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 shoots himself in the same thumb, like within a 1/16 of an inch, so hard, right into a stud, that I have to get a hammer and like pry his thumb off of the roof. We go ahead and pull it out with pliers because that's all they're gonna do at the doctor's office anyway. And he's crying to the boss. He's like, Tim, this is a long time ago. This is like 92, 93, something like that. He's like, Tim, I'm done, man. I quit, I've had enough. So the moral of the story is, be safe. Like I'm always safe sometimes. So don't bump fire. Don't walk in the valleys. That's the weakest part of your roof. Don't stand on anything that's not nailed down. Also, look, we got the roof done except for this little bit, which we'll have done in about 5 minutes. And what else? Oh, we're gonna do some siding down on the bottom. We'll do another video by the end of the day. All right, love you guys. See you later. Bye. Hey there. So we got the roof on, and then we got this siding on the decking. This is the wind bracing. Dear Lord, is it raining? Why is that hot? Okay, so. So we were doing corporate shows. Me and Brent Brito, I'm gonna call you out. Poor little kid. We were doing corporate shows, and I forget what show we were. I think
mini burrito.
He is. He's a mini burrito. I think we were doing something in Spain or whatever with this meeting of the minds. We had all these people in this room, and they were all like super powerful, like rich. They could shut down the economy kind of people. And we're back there trying to make each other laugh. So the presenters are telling stories that are not funny because that's normal for them. And then all of a sudden, they'll tell some joke, and then everybody's all like, ha ha ha. So me and Brent decide that if we just do 3 loud laughs and then have a straight face, then they won't know that it's us. So some presenter tells some lame joke, and we're like this, and they turn around like, who just did that? We did, because we're jerks and we don't care about anybody but ourselves and our own amusement. Anyway, so we're super happy about this. Tomorrow we're gonna probably put some siding on all this stuff and make it look even prettier and get fascia and whatever else. So love you guys, hope you have a great night, and I don't know what else to say about it. Oh, hey there. You're probably wondering what I was doing with this. I am making a comprehensive list of literally everything I'm afraid of. It popped up in my memories that I had a heart attack 6 years ago. It popped up this morning. No, it wasn't actually a heart attack. It was an infection in my heart. It's super rare. It's called myocarditis, and I was only pumping 30% of my blood. So I almost died, and that was this day like 6 years ago. So I'm grateful for another day and another year and whatever. And so I made this list of things that I'm afraid of and things that I should be afraid of. I'm a little embarrassed to show this to you guys. It's completely empty because we don't need to be afraid of anything. So a lot of people are like, John, how can you do this dangerous stuff all the time and you're not afraid of anything? Let me tell you, it's simple obedience. And I know that sounds stupid, except for this. The Bible tells us everywhere through the Bible to be strong and courageous, do not fear, and the Lord says, for I am with you. And so no matter what in the world it is that you're facing, God is there with you, you're not alone, it's gonna be okay. And so I'm not afraid of anything, literally nothing. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna kill me? I'm not afraid of death, I've made my peace with God. Are you gonna put me through a lot of pain? That's literally every day of my life is just a lot of pain and a lot of tragedy and a lot of heartache. I'm used to it. It's also a whole lot of joy and a whole lot of good things too. So anyway, our lesson today is don't be afraid of anything. Later on, I'll probably like cut my hand off or some stupid thing, but here's what I've noticed. All the things that you think are gonna happen almost never happen. All the things you're afraid of almost never happen. You just end up worrying and you waste your time. And then the things that do happen blindside you and you couldn't do anything about it anyway. So I know that some people think that's a bad attitude, but I love it. Today, we're gonna work on some stuff. We're kind of like doing some fine-tuning stuff. You probably won't see like, wow, that's a big difference or whatever, but we got the roof on yesterday. We got this dried in. We're gonna have to wrap it. We're gonna have to side it. We're probably gonna side it tomorrow because Kenny's coming back. I know you guys have been like, where's Kenny? We miss Kenny. He's the funniest guy. John, you're so lame by yourself. Kenny will be back tomorrow and we will have more new Kenny jokes. Lincoln's here behind the camera right now. You got anything to say?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Oh, hey there.
Oh, hey there.
So my brother, this is my brother River. I love him so much and I'm so happy that he's here. He lives in Florida. River's a huge deal across the world, really. He roofs everything. I think he put a roof actually on the world to cover us from COVID, which is really amazing.
It's working because the death toll is very low right now.
You have a higher chance of dying from diarrhea by like 100,000 times. You would die of diarrhea before you die of COVID. I'm just throwing that out there because he put the roof on us. And also, River had a good idea earlier today at lunch. What was it? To take all the oxygen and all the air out of the world.
That was your idea.
That was your idea, I'm pretty sure.
That was your idea.
Take the whole atmosphere and then remove that in some kind of huge gas tank and then transplant other clean non-COVID air and put that back in for a whole new atmosphere. And I think that that's a good solution.
No. I did not think of that.
That's River's idea.
This is John's whack idea right here.
Nope, this is River trying to protect you from yourself.
I would like to say, look at all this beautiful work these guys have done in just a couple of days here, really, which is awesome. I had like 5 28-minute sessions, right?
About 5, yeah. This is our 5th.
That's
so
good,
we're
man.
halfway through it right now.
Oh, hey there. See? That's the shtick here. We love it.
It's funny. It's funny stuff.
So it's good. Anyway, I'm visiting in Texas from all the other states that I work in. Maybe somebody just turned the breeze on here.
I ain't gonna lie.
What's
It's hot and we're
Jesus?
inside. Yeah, it's hot and we're inside. Bob Cameron's coming over. He's gonna fix the heat in here.
Well, this place is super sealed, so that would be
Always.
that'll be effective.
Hey, we got insulation. Look.
That's good. Yeah. So order a building. You install the HVAC right after stick framing. No.
Wide open windows?
Wide open.
That brings up a good point. You know, there's a lot of times that I'll dry my hands before I wash them. I think that the order of things doesn't matter at all. You just
I agree.
throw that out the window. Like, we start by putting the roof on, then we frame it. I almost shocked myself on that right there. Don't touch this area right here or those screws will shock you.
This is an OSHA violation.
Right here, so look, the black screws, the brass screws with the black wires, that's the part that'll touch you. That'll shock you right there, so don't do that. Anyway, I think that you all learned a valuable lesson about our atmosphere, about COVID, about River with his good ideas, about the order of things, and don't shock yourself on the outlet. Anything else to say?
Oh, bye there.
Oh, bye there. Ha ha ha! Hello. So I got to see my brother today, and I was super happy about that. And we only get to see each other a little bit because not only does John work too much, but River works too much as well. River is a big deal. We got a little bit of stuff done, but I was pretty distracted. We got heat and air ducts in, which is great. Bob Cameron from Tropic Heat and Air. I love Bob Cameron. I've known him for 25 years now. That is a man of God. And he is a hardworking man, and he's honest, and he does great work. And I got nothing but good things to say about Bob. And Mike and the whole team, just everybody up there. I love all you guys. And you know that, I tell you every time I see you. Our electrician came in here and put in all the wiring, which was super nice of him. The plumber got started over here. You can see he did some stuff. He's looks very similar to me. Anyway, so what we want to talk to you today about is that in the Bible it says that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to go into heaven. And I know what you're thinking. Probably the same thing I thought before I figured this out. You're thinking of like a tiny little, like a needle, and like that little thing you put the thread through. That is the eye of the needle that we think of. But in Old Testament and New Testament times, they had, imagine you had a city, like let's call it Jerusalem. And around this city, there's a big wall. And then if you want to get in that wall, they have big gates. And during the daytime, they're open up, and then people can come and do their commerce or whatever. And at nighttime, they close them up so that enemies can't come. And they got guards there and everything. But let's say you're like, oh man, I was late because there was traffic. The camel road was full, or whatever it was. How are you going to get to your house that's inside the city gates? Good question. There's something called the Eye of the Needle, and it's a tiny door that a person can fit through. So, you know, if you're like late, then you're like, knock, 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 and they're like, who is it? And then you give them the password or whatever, and they, okay, we'll let you through. But let's just say you got enemies with you. Not a big deal, because they can't really attack through that tiny door, because they just, you know, kill them and shut the door. So that thing was called the Eye of the Needle. For a camel to go through the Eye of the Needle, it would have to take everything off of its back and get down on its knees and obey its master and go through, which was difficult for a camel, but it's more difficult for a rich man, because most of the time rich men are very self-confident, they're self-made, and they don't want to they don't want to lose what they've got, because that's how they get their power, and that's how they get to do the things that they want to do. So they don't want to take everything off their back, they don't want to lose all their money and all their possessions, they don't want to get down on their knees, they don't want to humble themselves at all, and they don't want to obey anybody. They're like, I'm my own king, I'm my own thing, I do whatever in the world I want to. But when we think of rich people, I all the time make jokes to people. I'm like, but you're rich, you do what you want. And the truth is, we are all rich. In America, we are the top 5% of the world's wealth, right? We consume 95% of the resources of the world, and we're like 5% of the population. I don't know if those numbers are exactly right. The point is, we're pretty rich here. So even what we consider to be poor people can have that attitude of, you're not gonna take my stuff, you can't tell me what to do, and I'm not gonna humble myself. And if you have that attitude, it is easier for a camel to get through the Eye of the Needle than it is for you to get into heaven. And that should be a scary thing. The truth is, it's very easy for a rich man to get into heaven. All you gotta do is take the stuff off your back, get down on your knees, humble yourself, and obey your master and go through. Anyway, I thought that was a pretty cool object lesson that really helps you to understand kind of the meaning behind all this. Because I got to go to Israel and I got to go to Turkey and Greece and see all these things in person, then it made a whole lot more sense to me. And I strongly encourage you guys to do that. But I thought that was interesting. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. So, you're probably thinking to yourself, where has Kenny been? And I'll tell you that he has finally returned from his mission trip, and I am so grateful. And I'm not talking about a mission trip where he goes and tries to save the souls of other people in other countries. I sent him on a mission to go get us ice, and he traveled on horseback, no less, all the way through the Pacific Ocean down to Antarctica to pick us up ice. Sadly, it melted on the way back. But Kenny is back, and he has the heart of a gladiator. On the other hand, Lincoln told me that he was hurting real bad and that he was tired, and he had the heart of a little girl. So anyway, Kenny, what do you got to say? We're gonna switch this up. How was your trip?
It was full of work. I really didn't get very much rest at all, and now I'm here to continue the lifelong agreement I've made with working hard.
But the mission trip to get the ice, how's that?
Oh yeah, that was a mission. That was a definite mission. It was a straight up task. I didn't make it all the way to Antarctica, like John said. I just made it to the ice dispensing machine down the street and somehow got lost for a week.
Wait, what? Nuh-uh.
Yeah, it's like when your dad leaves for a gallon of milk and maybe doesn't come back for a week and a half, 2 weeks. That's kind of like that, but with ice.
No.
Yeah.
You told me you went to Antarctica.
I went to the Antarctica ice dispenser machine down the street.
At QT.
Is that where it was?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm going to let it go. Look, it's all just water under the fridge now. That's fine.
Water under the fridge, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how that saying goes. Don't try to correct me. I'm the boss. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. We had to, and Kenny's back. Look, hey Kenny. And Canoe's back. How good is that? We're doing more Hardy today, and we've showed you how to do Hardy enough. So I thought I'll show you how to do one of these sliding glass doors. So it's got this flange just like a window all the way around, and there's a flange on the bottom, which sometimes you need, but we went ahead and cut this one off with a multi-tool, so that's good. Then we found that if you put these sliding glass doors in and mount them before you close them and lock them, then it ends up being a real issue. Seriously, later on, you're like, darn it, it's not square, and now we're gonna have to get it. So first we put it in place and we lock it, and then we get it in place and just nail it. So it's really not that hard. But the other thing is, you want to make sure that the thing is tight because it slides, and a lot of times you'd be like, why isn't this locking? It's because when you push up on it, it just moves the latch and it doesn't actually lock it. So you got to make sure that that's in the right place and everything, and then you just nail it. It's really not hard. So you just come over here and put some nails in it. That's how you put it in a sliding glass, and then trim it out on the inside and the outside, foam and all that stuff. So I do want to talk about the fact, this is a little bit embarrassing. I hate to talk about stuff that's embarrassing for me. I really do. Kenny knows. Have I ever talked about anything embarrassing? Never. So this morning I wake up and I've got to go to the bathroom because, you know, it happens. And I look down, you know, I'm just looking up and I look down and none of it's going in the toilet. There's no sound. It's just, you know.
A split stream.
Right. And I was like, no more split pea soup for me for dinner. That's all I got. Hey, so we got all the siding on the outside. We'll show you that in just a second. But we did this, which is kind of interesting and different. Maybe you guys want to do something like this. So they had this cathedral kind of a ceiling up here, right? And the homeowner was like, hey, we want to have this inset thing, right? This box. So we thought long and hard, and I thought you guys might appreciate kind of seeing how it's done. So I'm going to show you. So what we did is our weight is on top of these walls. There's a double stud right here, and the weight sits on top of those walls. See it? So
Kinda
this
like the double stud standing behind the camera, huh?
kind of like the double studs. Yeah, both of you guys stand behind the camera. Okay, so then this goes all the way across, and then we got short little runs. They're 5 feet all the way, and they're half the weight is on top of this wall, which takes all the way down to concrete, and then half of it is on this, but it's distributed across. So then from there, we put these boards on in between, and we nailed quite a bit into these. And then once again, half the weight is on top of the wall, and then half of it is out here. And then we did that again, and then we built this little wall, and then we put this ceiling on top of it. So then it's gonna box up in, and we'll show you once it's done, it'll look really cool. But it was still wobbly in the middle, right? So if you got here or anywhere and kind of just grabbed it, it would just like wobble because there's nothing supporting it in the middle. So then what we did.
So what if you put too much weight on it, it would fall down, correct? If you didn't put...
it would definitely wobble, and over time it might sag, right? Just because normally we have something that supports to the rafters. So what we did is we took these boards and we nailed in to this little wall thing, and then we nailed up into the rafters, and we did that in 6 places. So the 4 corners and then, you know, one in the middle.
It's actually kind of cool. Like if you explain to them, like what happens is you nail that up into the rafter. That rafter leans into that ridge, and that ridge distributes the weight all the way back to a load-bearing wall.
To the wall. Yeah. So it actually does do pretty
So
good.
can we get an inspection? So I
got an inspector out here, and today the inspector's Kenny.
Okay, Kenny. How you doing, Mr.
All right, so I'm gonna do a real fast. It's called the Kenny Test Inspect. All right, you get up here, you look real hard at it, find a nice spot to grab on, and you just
and see how it doesn't move, but Kenny does. Wow, you jumped
Did
all
we
that
pass,
way?
sir?
Huh? It passed inspection. It's got a purple tag.
I don't know what that means, but purple's one of my favorite colors. I like it better than red and blue combined.
It's red and blue mixed.
Yeah.
Good one.
You got any funny stuff to say? We haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, I had some funny stuff to say, but just like
Let's go outside.
just like any other day, I'm
Exhausted?
brain farting.
That's fair.